What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about how to get around more of the women that are actually interested in you so that way you have a higher success rate in dealing with the ones that aren't going to waste your time. The reason I want to get into this video is because I know there are a lot of men out there trying to figure out how to even get to the women that they like. But in reality, it needs to be the opposite way around. It needs to be the woman trying to find out how to get around you, which you are the most interesting person that they know of, or at least you seem somewhat interesting to them. So this video is to help change your mindset on how you go about looking for women because actually the women should be looking for you. And I'm going to get into some things here that's going to help you learn what you're going to need to do in order to make it easier for yourself so that the women are actually coming to you, or at least they know enough about you before they even give you their phone number. That way, you know they are fully interested in who you are as a person. This way, you don't have to work as hard to get the type of women that are actually interested in you. So before we get into the story where I'm going to explain the example and give you the lesson that I've learned from this, make sure you check out the Patreon if you do enjoy this content and you do see that this is somewhat helpful to you. And if you need more specific advice on dating, relationships, text game, conversation game, that's where you can check out the Patreon and then you'll be able to get some more help there. There's a private Discord channel. All right, so let's get into it, guys. I'm going to explain a story here, and I need you to pay close attention to what I'm saying and all the little details because this is going to give you a blueprint for how you need to operate no matter which stage you are in life in order to get success with more women that are actually interested in you. We're going to go back to when I was in college as a freshman. So, my first year at college, I get there and I only know maybe 2 to 3 people personally. Now, you think about when you first go to college, nobody's going to know who you are. Your social status starts at zero. So, while I was there in my first semester in college, I thought about how am I going to get some of the women that are here because I'm starting at the bottom of the totem pole. None of the upperclassmen women are going to know me. I'm only going to know some of the freshman girls because I'm in class with them. But then again, I'm still going to have to do something in order to make myself interesting, put myself out there so people will know who I am, what my personality is like. So within the first few months of me being there, I heard about a talent show that was coming up. It was being run by one of the fraternities on campus, and one of the people that I knew at the school was an upperclassman, so they had already been there for 2 to 3 years. This was very important to me trying to help elevate my social status or trying to make a name for myself so that way people will know who I am and also making it easier to talk to the women that were in my vicinity on campus. I decided to go ahead and enter the talent show. My talent at that time was dancing, like hip hop dancing. And I knew that I wanted to just perform and see what happens. I didn't know if I was going to be able to win it or not. And I thought really hard about the type of music that I need to dance to. I thought, what is something that I know women are going to like? What is an artist that a woman is going to like to hear? Or what is a woman listening to on campus right at this time? So I paid attention to a lot of the women in our age group at that time and what they were listening to. And I ended up on a song that came out by Chris Brown and T-Pain at that time. If you know what that song is, put it down in the comments below, and then that will probably let you know what time frame I was actually in college. But anyway, so I went ahead and practiced a routine, created a routine for the song, watched the music video so I could add some of the moves that I know the girls had seen in the music video. And then there was also one other particular thing I did. I knew that it was not enough for me to just perform because nobody knew who I was. So just me being a great performer was not going to be enough to garner the type of attention that I knew I needed to help elevate me and elevate my status on campus so that I'm just not some random dude that danced at a talent show. Because I knew one person that was an upperclassman, I came to him and said, "Hey, I want you to be a part of my routine." And he said, "I can't dance." I said, it's okay. What I'm going to do is just teach you some basic movements so that way we can keep the crowd hyped up. And that's what I did. I created a small section where we broke out into a DJ Khaled song that was a little bit more masculine. And then I brought him on stage along with one of my other freshman buddies. So that way there were three guys on stage. We had more of a masculine type of vibe where we're just keeping the crowd pumped up. It's not so much focused on the dancing, it's just about doing something cool. And I think around that time, Stump the Yard was really popular and things like that. So we had that type of masculine vibe going on at that time. And so I added him into the routine because I knew that other women on campus already knew who he was. So now it made it easier for them to pay attention to who I was as well because now people wonder, how does he know this guy? And now they're both amazing performers and they're entertaining us. This is very, it's something that's going to attract their eyes and attention. It leaves people with questions now that they want to get answered. So it came around to the talent show, and I did my routine to Chris Brown all by myself, like I planned. And the crowd they were loving it. They were eating it up. I found ways to make signature moves so it could make things that it was easy to remember, that they saw what I was doing. And then at the end, I did the encore performance and brought on those two guests, and we did our routine to DJ Khaled, and it was a hit. Everybody loved it. So we waited for the results to the talent show, and believe it or not, there were probably maybe 20. I'm just taking a guess. There's probably 15 to 20 participants in the entire talent show. And believe it or not, we actually won the entire talent show. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't even expect to actually win. I thought somebody else was just going to come up with a talent that was way better or more entertaining than mine. But maybe I just put in more work than I had imagined. So I actually won the talent show. And it wasn't really a group talent show. It was just me as an individual. But they paid me prize money and everything. And I split it. I split it with the two guys that I asked to come on for like that 1 minute or so segment. And we went to like Taco Bell or something. That's how we celebrated in college. It was like, let's go blow $20 on Taco Bell. I didn't have a lot of money in college. But anyway, so what do you think happened with the women on campus literally the day after I won that talent show? Because here's the key. I wake up the next day and I'm walking around campus and things completely flipped. Like the switch just flipped all of a sudden. Now women that wouldn't have ever recognized me before on campus, women that would have never noticed me before on campus, were now talking to me, and they felt like I was someone of importance all of a sudden. I had women that were upperclassmen now walking around saying, "Hey, you're that guy from yesterday," or they'll say, "You're the guy that danced to Chris Brown. You're that guy." Or they'll say, you're the dancer. Like I had so many nicknames. People start coming up with nicknames to call me, all this stuff. Not like picking on me, but I'm saying like name. They didn't know what to call me at first. They just knew who I was until most of the women actually just started coming up to me and talking to me to find out more about me. They're like, are you new here? Where did you come from? And how did you know that guy that was an upperclassman? So I had women automatically coming up to me that would have never noticed me. I probably would have never had any opportunity to meet them because I wouldn't have known they existed. But since the school knew who I was, now everybody kind of just knew who I was instantly as a freshman. I wasn't an athlete or anything, so there was no other easy way. And so just putting yourself out there is what I'm going to say is one of the best ways. You have to find ways to display your talents. You have to be good at something. You have to build up your social status. That's what I did. Because once I did that, guess what happened? I started unlocking more opportunities to get around more beautiful women that were interested in me. I literally had a woman that saw me in the cafeteria after that. And just because she knew who I was now, I didn't know anything about her. I was able to easily get her phone number, and she was interested in hanging out with me just because of that. There was another situation on campus. There was a magic show that came up on campus, and I went one night by myself. And since some people already kind of knew who I was, this one girl, she saw me when I was leaving the magic show from the auditorium at night, and she said, "Hey, you're that guy." And we started talking, and I walked her back to her dorm room. At the end of the night, she gave me her phone number, and eventually, in a few weeks, I ended up coming up to her dorm room. And all of this opened up because of opportunities of me putting myself out there in front of other people so that women can find out who you are, what you're about, what you're good at. And literally, they already know that they're interested in being around you, they're interested in finding out more about you. But it starts with you putting yourself out there, because why do you think a woman would want to be around a guy that doesn't have anything interesting going on or is not an interesting person? You have to show how interesting of a person you are, and the women will just show up. That's the reason why celebrities have many opportunities with women, because they already put themselves out there, so women already know what's interesting about them. They just want to get around the person now that they know they have some interest. Just if we use Chris Brown in this example, is a music artist. Do you think he has to do anything to meet women? No, it's because he's Chris Brown and he made a name for himself. And now I'm not saying that every guy is going to be able to raise their status at that same level, but you do not have to, is the point I'm making. You have to raise your status only to the level that is acceptable for the social circle that you're in, the environment that you're in, and for the particular women that are in that environment. Because for me, another opportunity opened up on campus because of my talent that I displayed. A few months later, there was a modeling group that started at school, and it was run by women. They were doing photography, they were doing modeling, and these were women that were aspiring to be models. And then there was also a dance team. So a lot of these women on campus asked me to be a part of this. They asked me to, hey, do you want to be a part of the modeling team? Do you want to become part of our dance team? And I said yes to all of those, because what it did is when I said yes to those opportunities, it put me in the room with all the women that were actually good looking, or at least thought they were really attractive. But most of the women that really were attractive were the ones that had enough confidence to be on the dance team, to be in the modeling. Some of them were running the modeling group. And to this day, one of those girls that was in the modeling group, she's actually famous today. um, she's actually famous. She's a famous comedian, lives out in California, has a huge following on Facebook. I think like maybe a million or so followers. And I knew her personally. I knew her and her boyfriend, and she's very attractive. I remember after college seeing her blowing up on the internet, and guys that didn't know that I knew her were like, "Man, she's fine. Man, she's bad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know her." It was like it was nothing. Like I know her. She's pretty cool. And that's what I'm saying. The only reason I was able to be around that type of woman or those types of women is because I try to elevate my own status so that way the women want me to be around them versus the other way around. And I'm going to end this right here because I could go on and on. But anyway, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. And tell me if you want to see more, because I could really go on about this topic more. But I'm just going to cut this one short here so that way we can make another video talking more about a specific topic like this.